YouTube. Welcome to the live stream. Today, we're doing it inside of my new building. So I'm waiting for things to finish up here. This last week, we had the inspector come give it an approval. So the framing looks like it's pretty good. And then we are going to be at then it rained. Then it rained for like 2 days, and it was it was a big downpour. Good thing for Southern California, not so good thing for my construction. Um, but things are okay. It's, still here. And then Friday, the electricians started coming, and they started wiring this place up and putting junction boxes and all that stuff for the outlets. And that's the state of we're in right now. So this is the setup that I have for my studio. I already have some comments coming in already. Let's see here. Remix Social. Hope you're amazing. I'm actually here at the start of the video. Yeah, I know. It's right here on time. Hey, my favorite John Hess. Thank you. I hope there's no other favorite John Hesses. Afternoon from the cold, icy Connecticut. That is very cold. Can't wait to see it. Yeah, no, me too. It's exciting. The hut. Oh, I like that idea. The hut. Can I turn my mic up a little bit? I can try that. Let's see here. 1, 2. That should be a little louder. 1, 2. There we go. That's the mic up a little bit louder there. And yep, that was that comment there. So welcome to the stream. We are live, just hanging out here really I figured I'd do a stream from inside the studio. If you haven't seen it last week, I'll give you a little view. This will be my edit bay. That room right there will be my edit bay. Behind the edit bay, in the room behind that, let's see if we can. It's going to be my server room, and this is going to be my my studio space, just general multi-purpose room kind of a thing. And so there you go. So yeah, that's the setup right now. Exciting. I'm excited. Hopefully, I don't know how much longer. I imagine probably a month or so before it's really move-in ready, or at least where I can start doing things with the walls. I think the first thing I'll be doing is painting the walls myself, and also I want to do wood slats on this wall right behind me here. I'm not sure I'm going to do wood slats on this wall. I'm thinking about it. Wood slats are pretty costly. And I'm wondering if it might not be worth it to do the wood slats on that wall. But for sure, the wall behind me on the editing. And then I'll be doing most of my live streams probably from that room right there with my computer in place. The dimensions are, it's like 22 by 15 or something like that. Or 20 by 16, right? 20 by 16 would be 320 square feet. Yeah, so that's 20 by 16. Here's a question for you. Why do most buildings in the U.S. made out of wood compared to Europe, where it's mostly block and brick? Is it a cost thing? Kind of. I believe. I think lumber is much more available here in the U.S., so everything is lumber based. If you go on places like Reddit, it's always Reddit has a very anti-American. Oh shoot! I left my door open there. Well, it's okay. Reddit has a very anti-American bias. And so they always say how terrible wood construction is, but I think it's a lot cheaper to build it out of wood, a lot more options to build it out of wood. Because with brick you have to attach. You can't hang drywall on a brick. You have to attach other things to the brick in order to get it to work. So I think I've read online about it, and it's the construction approaches and styles are a little bit different in the United States. I don't know. Although I'm not even entirely sure that if you were to build a new building in the European in Europe that you might not actually build it out of wood, because I think it's also much more easier to handle. Wood construction traps carbon is renewable. That's true. How much are you swinging the hammer yourself? None. This is not a build that I would do. I did do the front yard, so I redid the front yard. That was all my manual labor. But once they complete the construction of the construction needs to be done by a contracted contractor, licensed contractor. Essential Craftsman has an excellent response to this criticism. I would love to read that because I'm not like rah 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 America's awesome. Although I think America's awesome, but like the amount of anti-Americanism on Reddit and places like that is just astoundingly stupid. It's like just because Americans do it, like it has to be stupid, and it's like nah, maybe not. Maybe there are reasons for this stuff. Stoonbug says, with Hollywood dying, maybe it's time that New Jersey take back the throne to be home of entertainment. Why not? I think everybody should take the throne back for home of entertainment. Wherever you are, you should take that rightful throne back and be that way. I'm absolutely rah rah. America's awesome. I didn't serve 5 years to hear idiots tell me America sucks. Good for you. No, I mean, what I'm saying is I'm not unaware. I'm not oblivious to the things that we could do better in this country, obviously. But like complaining that we use wood and not brick, and that's why we're terrible or stupid or whatever it is, because we build stuff out of. Not to say that Bullet Silence was saying that. I'm just saying my experience on places like Reddit have been like, you Americans, you build stuff out of wood, and you guys are dumb. But there's reasons. There's actually very sound reasons, and I don't think I could build the. I mean, I have a brick wall in the front of my house, and I don't think I could build this with brick. Exciting to build a new studio? Yeah, no, it's so. I mean, the math works out amazing. So like in my town, and I'll just be frank about this. When I started Filmmaker IQ in that studio, when I started renting that studio is when I started making videos for Filmmaker IQ. That's part of the reason why I got that studio, was to have a space to shoot Filmmaker IQ videos along with my business and work and all that stuff. And I started doing that about 11 years ago. And it cost me $800 a month to rent a 1,600 square foot space in the studio 11 years ago. And then when I left, the rent was $2,500 a month. And it was not, they were not trying to screw me. They were just charging literally probably a little bit below market rate, but the market rate in my town had just skyrocketed. And it was really, it was like oppressive to, because I had gone from paying, because I guess maybe they held me on an old contract, or maybe my lease was like a 5-year lease, but I was paying $1,700 a month, and then all of a sudden it bumped to they wanted me to bump to $2,300, and if I signed a like a 5-year lease, and then if I signed a 3 years lease, it would be like $2,500. I said, screw that, I'm not doing that. And so out of that, like, it was like, why am I spending this much money? And part of it too, I was taking care of my mom at the time, so like having a studio was a way of having space away from the house, away from the home, and away from taking care of my mother. But now she's passed, the house is mine. There's no reason for me to be out there if I had the space at home. And then I figured out, well, I can save that rent money, put that toward like a loan payment, and make a whole lot more money. Whole lot more money back here. A bag of plaster is cheaper, and then drywall board here in the UK, wood is quicker to erect, can be cheaper, so I understand why. Soundproofing might be the only issue for a studio space that makes like that. It's interesting. That might be true. Yeah, maybe we have better access to drywall here than you guys with plaster. And drywall boards are pretty easy to put up too. It's interesting. Um, but yeah, I don't, I think definitely from the perspective of like actually putting this together, like if I had to lay the brick down for this, would be also another reason, a good reason why is earthquakes. So wood is a much more forgiving in an earthquake situation than brick is. So in California, this makes a lot more sense, I think. Nowadays, you could just pretty much have a shed from the hardware store and use that as a studio. Yeah, it's true. Only thing with that is you will not have air conditioning, and this is Southern California, and I live at the edge of a desert, and I'm not on the desert, but I'm close to it. And in the summertime, you do not want to be in a Home Depot shed in the summer. So I will be supplying air conditioning into this place. We've got actually you can see over there we got the electrical box coming in. See you can't see it. See, it's right behind that ward there. So that I think this mini split will go right next to the window there. So it'll blow cold air or warm air, depending on what season it is, through this open way. So I won't have any interior doors. It'll just be open here, open there, and then the door will be in the back, and then I've got French doors in front over here. Yeah, I mean, a mini split is essentially a window unit. It's just a window unit that's built into the wall. Have I considered solar panels? Not yet, but it's possible. I mean, this upstairs. I mean, that's perfect. Well, the only problem is it's not south facing. It is that way is east, so it would get lots of light during the sun. But solar panels, I mean, wouldn't be a bad idea because it's a flat roof up there. So I mean, it'd be super easy, I imagine. I would prefer brick to wood personally, but it comes down to code and costs. Yep, there you go. How crazy is the NEZHA2 box office? It's 1.6B. I think we had a stroke when we were writing that one. Hit like and subscribe, everyone. Thank you for reminding me. Every country person can do things better. No perfect person exists. I agree with that. One thing it always bothers me is like never ever tell anybody how much you paid for your mechanic to do something on your car, because I found that anytime you taste like, well, I got an oil change for $75. They'll say like, well, I can do it for less, and I know someone else. I know my buddy of mine can do it for $30. I'm like, really cool, good story there, but like I need to get my car done in a certain time, and I like the mechanic I have, and he gives me free Uber rides home and all that stuff. So like maybe I don't care that you can do it for less. Like every time, without fail, every single time you talk about like a car mechanic thing, somebody's like, I can do it for less. Or sometimes they'll be like, my buddy like who lives 75 miles away from us here will do it for like $100 less. And you're like, that's cool, but then I have to drive 100 miles or 75 miles to see your buddy and drop a car off, whereas I can go to the mechanic that's near me who offers me free Uber services back. Whatever. A buddy of mine converted his backyard shed into a music studio, man cave, electric, and air conditioning. That's basically what this is. Oh yeah, that's true. The idea of having air conditioning unit in your home in the UK is very rare occurrence, mostly electric heaters. Well, because I think the UK, let's do the math on this one. This is always fun. All right, UK latitude. Let's just go like London. London latitude. London latitude is 51 degrees north. All right. California, 51 degrees north. All right. So California's latitude goes to 42 degrees north. Okay, so London is not even in California as far as how north it is. I would think probably closer example of how far south California is Spain. So like you guys don't need air conditioning because you have way more moderate temperatures than we do in California. Plus the fact, geography wise, we're closer to like a desert area. So our heat's just, New York is like that too. New York City is closer to where London is, but like New York City is gets extremely hot and muggy during the summertime. Anyhow, Thomas says he loves the solar panels. My bill's $9. Oh, very good. Another $150 for the water for power produced by the panels. About $180 less than what my neighbors pay. That's awesome. Yeah, I may have to consider that. Maybe I have to talk to somebody after I get this thing built to lower the. Cause, I mean, this would be a great option for doing solar panels. I mean, I could do solar panels on my house. My neighbor just had solar panels. One of my neighbors on this side over here got solar panels, but they required to put a new roof on their house. So I don't know. We'll have to check it out. Where I live, the humidity gets oppressive during the summer. Yeah. Luckily, in California, the humidity is not bad at all. Hey, Jack, how you doing? Jack Ripper. Hope you are well. I am doing rather well. In fact, my mouth is getting really dry. I think I'll take a quick early break. Not break. I'll just run over there to my kitchen, grab a can of sparkling water, and come back real quick. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second, or else my mouth is just going to literally turn into like sawdust. Here, right back. Right back. All right, we're back. Woo-wee. Man, could you imagine if you tuned in right there, just see that, and nothing was there, and you're like, what's going on? All right, we're back. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I'm having some dry mouth here. I'm drinking Winco's pink grapefruit, 0-calorie, unsweetened, whatever, sparkling water. It's not bad. I don't think I'm allowed to eat grapefruit, although I have a grapefruit tree. I have 3 trees over here that I think might get axed because the south is this way, and you can kind of see. I'll point the camera in that direction. There's a tree behind that wall right there. You guys can't see that. But I mean, it gets sun, but the 2 other trees are never going to get sun. So I think they're going to be dead here pretty soon. Turning up to shoot with other operators is the same. How much did you pay for that kit? Yeah, exactly. Kansas soldiers recently lost their tax incentive for filmmaking. That's a excuse me. Stop. Sorry. That's an interesting soldiers. Excuse me. Oh yeah, the empty chair scam. Yeah, no, I have a mini fridge that's sitting in my garage waiting to come into here. I haven't even thought about where I'm going to put that. Probably put that in the server room area. But yeah, the mini fridge is definitely can't wait for that. Hey, thank you for the super chat there, Gerardo Ferraros. Well, thank you very much. I'm awesome. Thank you. More content coming here. Yeah. So last night, my friends came over. I hosted a movie night, a bad movie night. We watched the 1983 movie Hercules, starring Lou Ferrigno, and it was quite the movie. It was quite the movie. Yeah. It's definitely in that genre, like the genre cheesy 80s movie. I will say take a watch. It can be hard to watch. There's two of them. Well, yeah, I think I watched the first one. I think the second one we saw that notice that it had a sequel made. But yeah, that was rough. Very entertaining, but it was pretty rough. If you are a bad movie connoisseur, that's kind of in the realm. It's pretty. It's got special effects are kind of questionable. Even the picture in picture stuff, where they take two shots and they match them together. The matching shots like vibrate because they're not. It's not done very well at all. Anyhow, can't wait to see new IQ videos. I can't wait to start actually moving the stuff in and like being able to put my mind on new Filmmaker IQ videos. Like I've got one idea that I want to do. Especially breaking my train of thought, especially the one with Lou Ferrigno fights the bear. Yeah, and it was like, so if you don't know the plot of the thing, Hercules, the bear starts mauling his dad, and it's not really a bear. It's like they utilize stock footage, and they utilize a guy in a bear costume. So he's cutting his stock footage and and he gets so pissed off he throws the bear into the space. And it becomes this constellation Ursa Major. So yeah, anyhow. But speaking of new Filmmaker IQ videos, I've got some ideas. I want to do one about polarizers. I mean, there's probably videos out there about polarizers, but I think it's fascinating to look at the physics of polarizers. So kind of bring physics into the filmmaking conversation. That'd be fun. I saw that Media Division made out a video about frame rate. So let's see what their video. I saw them pushing it on Reddit. Let's see. Now, other than like, there's one thing I kind of disagree on, but it's a minor quibble. But anybody else that goes out there saying that 24 frames a second is the frame rate for movies is got my support. But let's see, where is changing timeline where is it? The recipe for making movies out of your videos. Maybe that's what it is. Oh no, I don't know where. Is that it? Maybe that's one's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. Maybe that's a 2-hour thing. Well, whatever. I don't know which one. Let's see. I'm just trying to see what their videos are. No, I don't know which one it is. Honestly, they make really good-looking videos. Honestly, their videos are so. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me share my screen. Where is the screen sharing? Maybe I can't share my screen. Let's try this again. Is it that one? Can you guys hear the airplane over my head? Let's see. Yeah, this is Media Division. I don't see a frame rate one, but man, there's a lot of airplanes going over my head. It's going to make filming annoying. For some reason, they put me inside the flight path of the local airport. So that might be kind of a problem. Yeah, anyhow, let's go back to your comments. Never heard of those Hercules movies. I think they were a response to Schwarzenegger. They're like, Schwarzenegger is getting too expensive. Let's get the next biggest like beefcake we can find. Oh yeah, Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, his acting is. Anyhow, I mean, I must have been starting out. Tuning in the background while I try to match footage from two cameras. Oh my God, I feel sorry for you. That's hard. That's hard to do. We all know what I want to see, more videos of the studios. Well, I got to do that, I got to make more of those. I saw The Gorge on Apple TV last night. Surprised me how well it kept my interest. That's cool. So, another new bit of news. I am a PC guy, and I made a purchase. I bought a Mac Mini. But don't, before you get like all excited, John bought a Mac Mini. I bought a used Mac Mini because I want to run it as a media server and a file server. Because I want to use it for backing up. So I was trying to get. I have a Buffalo Terra station. It's about 40. I think it's about 20 terabytes, and I'm using about 11 of them right now. And I want to back the stuff up to Amazon Glacier. Now on the actual Terra station, there's a way to like hook up your Amazon S3, and I created an S3, not a Glacier bucket, but an S3 bucket, and I got it to talk. But like every time it does a backup, it says error. You're not like you can't move stuff. Like it created the folders, but it doesn't actually move the files. So I don't know what's going on with that. And I might just go up to my second idea, which is to basically run this. I used to have this program a lot called GoodSync, and you could set a GoodSync to like basically make incremental backups to anything you want. And it does have ability to sync up to Amazon S3. So I was thinking about using that media server to, first of all, use it as a Plex server, so I could serve anything on my house internet that has Plex, and I'll be able to watch any movies I have in my collection. And then I wanted to also use it as a media backup to incrementally back up maybe once a week to Amazon and put it in the Glacier storage. And that will be affordable. Like, I think I might at one point get rid of my Dropbox. I don't know. Dropbox is expensive, and they pissed me off because they said they had unlimited storage, and then when I started putting like 50 terabytes up there, it was no longer unlimited, and that really, really pissed me off. It's like, that's the reason why I got you, was you were unlimited. But anyhow. How can we combat pessimism in the film industry? If you watched my stream last week, you'll know that I also have pessimism in the film industry. Like, I just don't know where to go with films. That's why I'm watching a lot of these older films. These old movies that were made for, like, Canon Group made Hercules for like $3 million. And enjoying that more than I would enjoy watching like some of the more modern Marvel content. There's something about watching those movies with friends, laughing at it, making jokes at it, and it's I don't know, I find myself more attracted to that kind of model. To be fair, I don't know how to deal with the pessimism. In my teaching as a professor, I do one class a week. I don't know if I dare call myself a professor, but I am, I guess, in some sense. It's like I see new students being excited about filmmaking, and I like that, but I wonder if I have that heart. I don't know. And, I would like to go ahead and make some more short films and, do that kind of thing, but we'll see. How do you fight pessimism? You don't. You kind of maybe hope that the pessimism will cause a lot of people to quit and go find other work in other industries, and therefore the competition will get lower. And then if you stick around, you'll still be there. Maybe that's how you fight pessimism, by thinking that it's going to just cause everybody to leave and then make room for you. That's not unheard of, and it happens. HFR is for video games, animations, and documentaries. Ain't that bad. The funny thing is, even HFR for animation is not really that good. Like I know Kurtzig Gog, or whatever the hell that video, that animation studio on YouTube, they do all theirs at 60 frames a second, and it's fine. It's got that very kind of like smooth, like almost like GUI look, GUI, graphical user interface look. But like if you look at traditional animation, like I want to say anime, but also like Spider-Man in the universe, and you find that you actually like the lower frame rate, the 12 frames, because it allows if you do 12 frames a second, it allows each cell to kind of stick in the frame a little longer, so you get to appreciate it rather than it becoming kind of a blur of motion. It like now things have like a stick, and you get to absorb the shape of the animation better in the low frame rate. That's crazy, isn't it? That's what I think. Cinching does the same thing, I think. I use Jellyfish as a free alternative Plex. Streams to any device. Oh, interesting. Cinching. So I'll have to look into that as well. We need a company like Canon Films again. Well, A24 is not Canon Films. A24 is like actually good movies. Canon Films is literally genre junk. Like Canon movies did not make anything for that would win awards. Like that's the problem is though, and maybe like so the mechanism that allowed all these genre films to work were like drive-in theaters and low-rent theaters, like that kind of world, right? Where I think a lot of people could sit and make fun of the movies. You know, I don't think people went to the drive-in and expected to sit and watch the movie. You know, I don't think that was the expectation at a drive-in movie theater, right? It was there you go there to make out with your girl, or, you know, eat junk food and just have a good time. So that mechanism to make that kind of movie doesn't exist anymore. You know, and I don't know how such a thing. I mean, there are midnight screening kind of things, but still, it's those midnight screenings have, you know, they work on things like The Room and movies that are intended to be serious, right? So I don't know what kind of financial mechanism exists. I keep saying the word mechanism to make myself sound smart, but like there needs to be something that allows a place for these movies to exist. And I don't know. That's the problem. It's like, and it's something that I feel like I think about a lot is that the mechanism. Stop saying mechanism, John. Where we see movies now is so dominated by basically big forces like Marvel. You know, and I don't hate Marvel. I don't dislike them necessarily, but like they're not responsible for making those smaller, quiet movies, but also they're not responsible for making the fun, small movies. They're all about making humongous bets. You know, they have to make billions of dollars in order to make back what they're spending on these movies. So they have to kind of play it in a very safe realm, right? Whereas, you know, somebody that can come around and make a cheap, cheesy movie and it's just stupid fun. And again, I think also the cultural shift too is different because, you know, back in the Canon days, you didn't have blogospheres complaining about every little problematic thing about a film. It was just sensationalism, titillation, and all that stuff. Anyhow, so driving theaters and everything in the UK, maybe one or two touring cinemas, but nothing like what you guys had in the US. Yeah, I mean, well, whatever, you know, something similar to that effect. You know, like theaters in a sense that, like, things to do on a Friday night that didn't involve like legitimate theater or, you know, something else. Like, what would you do on a Friday night that was inexpensive, but you could kind of go and hang out with your friends at, you know? And I mean, you guys have pubs. You have way more pubs than we do. So the UK, I don't know. Maybe you need to have some sort of like movies in the pub thing where people can come and watch and make fun of movies in the pub or something. But yeah, the elements. Also, you know, television too, right? Television buying those old. I remember the old theory was movies didn't make money until they hit television. Like television was what saved the movie industry because that's where you made all the money. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. So now it's all streaming, but streaming is this weird like web of something or another thing. We need a new Roger Corman type of guy. I hate to say it, but is that Mr. Beast? And lo and behold, I really do loathe Mr. Beast. But is Mr. Beast closer to Roger Corman than we're willing to admit? You know, the problem is Roger Corman, I think, exists in a world that doesn't exist anymore. Or his approach would not work anymore because or his approach would probably look more like Mr. Beast than Roger Corman. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to go for like low budget and just dial things in for your audience, that's Mr. Beast. And God, I hate Mr. Beast. I just hate his face. You hear that, Mr. Beast? I hate your haircut. I hate your face. I hate your fake ass smile. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jelly of Mr. Beast. I never thought of that. I know. I never thought of that either until you brought it up. It's one of those things you just brought up, and I just thought, oh, crap. Oh, crap. If we had Roger Corman today, he'd look like Mr. Beast. And I hate Mr. Beast. We need a new George Lucas. Well, yeah, sure. We need new George Lucases. We need new David Lynches. We need new, I was thinking about an idea for a short film that would be like a David Lynch thing. I wanted to do a short film. So recently I just finished. I'm playing trumpet for the high school, and they want me to be a coach, even though I probably won't interact with any students. But they want me to be classified as a coach. So in order to do that, I got to go through all the HR bull that the coaches have to go through. So I have to watch all these videos about CPR. I've got to watch videos about heat stroke, how to spot domestic violence in the house. I have to watch all these videos. Sexual harassment, sexual abuse. I have to watch all these, I'm taking notes. Like, oh, this is how you groom a kid. Just kidding. I'm not interested in kids. I'm not one of those. But anyhow, so I was thinking it'd be fun to do like a video, like one of those HR training videos, but it's like David Lynch style, or it just starts off normal, but how would we, Jennifer is feeling very uninvited in the workplace. She feels like she's facing a hostile workplace. What should we do? Let's look at the example. And it turns to becomes this very bizarre David Lynch style like scene between these two people. And then it just devolves, and I think that'd be kind of fun. And we get a couple film festivals in that. I think it'd be universally fun. I have a challenge for you. Is it an ice bucket challenge? Please. I missed the first time I came around. I remember an ice bucket challenge. I was watching David Lynch's ice bucket challenge, and I'm just gonna keep going on David Lynch today. He played the trumpet. He played Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but very poorly. Then somebody dumped ice on him, and he said, "All right, now I would like to challenge, or I would like to nominate for the ice bucket challenge, Vladimir Putin." And I thought that was great. David Lynch is one of my favorite. It's Quentin Tarantino and David Lynch are the two director impersonations I can kind of do. The only thing you're going to see in a pub in the UK would be football, soccer. You'll get beat up for putting a film on during a season. I watched that one show. What's the name of that show? Baby Reindeer. Yeah, and that when the guy was trying to do his comedy in those pubs. Oh my God, that was a Mr. Beast reference. God. See, that's how little I know about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast just needs to go away. I just had 2 cookies and a Coke. I just had 2 cookies and a Coke. And some pie and a cup of black coffee at the Bob's Big Boy. Sorry, I had to do that. Every time somebody leaves me a comment, I need to read it in terms of David Lynch. Neon. Hey, Matthias, and welcome to the live stream here. Neon is great, too, not just A24. The two try in a way to fill some of the holes that the end of United Artists left in the American cinema. That's a good point. Do you want me to do my Tarantino impersonation? So, Tarantino is like, okay, look, you guys get this right, guys. All right, so imagine this. We're in a 7-Eleven. All right. And then this guy comes in and he's like, I'm going to blow your brains out. And it's just amazing. Okay. So what happens after that is we go into space. right? And then imagine this. It's like Star Trek. It's like Star Trek, but it's not. Okay? So it's like totally out there. But then all of a sudden David Lynch shows up, and it's like, whoa, like what's going on? Okay, that's completely without a script and terrible. But that's my Quentin Tarantino style. I need an actual script, and I needed something instead of just like riffing off of nonsense. But David Lynch talking, I can't. This is really really bad. Be the David Lynch talking to Quentin Tarantino. I wonder if that would be entertaining or really weird. That would be fun. Because it's so much fun, Jan. Is that a Bob Evans? I don't know if I can do a Bob Evans impersonation. I don't have this voice, Bob Evans. The kid stays in the picture. I once talked to... I can't do Bob Evans. I think you could have a new whatever who were talking about it, just that you have to work harder on marketing now and use the internet to your advantage. Yep. I think the landscape is so different, right? Like I think if you look at history of movies, people arise like through a studio system, right? Hitchcock was able to emerge from a studio system. We don't have that studio system anymore. Like there are a few filmmakers out there that are sort of crafting their own personas and their own authorship or styles, right? Robert Eggers is the one that comes immediately to mind, is the newest one on the block. Greta Gerwig, another example. But they still have to interact inside the studio system in a sense. So Greta Gerwig to a less extent, right? But I mean, name the director of the new Captain Marvel movie. You can't. No one can. I mean, I'm sure. Let's look it up real quick, right? Captain America, Brave New World. Who's it directed by? Not even seeing this on. Directed by Julius Ona. Yeah, I've never heard of him. Or her. I don't even know if it's him or her. Can't assume these days, right? So, the studio system is no longer backing like filmmakers in that sense. So the directors have to be like extreme auteurists, not autists, but auteurists. Somebody like a Robert Eggers who can be kind of noticeable. I mean, not to take whatever chops that one guy had, Julius Ona has, but he's not like a recognizable auteur, right? I'm not saying anything bad about him or her. I don't even know who that is. But what I'm saying is like the studios no longer exist in that format to push certain people out there. And what we have now are sort of, if you want to be kind of a producer unto yourself, you have to be like, you have to kind of become like a Mr. Beast type character. You have to be able to be your own everything. I don't know. Martin Scorsese. I don't know how to do a Martin Scorsese impression. Like, how does a Martin Scorsese... I don't even know. He doesn't have anything that really ticks with me, Martin Scorsese. I don't know. I can't do a Martin. I think I'm going to Clint Eastwood here. Terrible. Mic needs to be lowered so slightly. It's clipping. Then probably that's what it is. Have you seen Flow? It was entirely made with Blender. About impersonations. Lynch was spot on. John F. Ford and the Fablemans. Yeah, John, that was great. You see the horizon? Where is the horizon? It's in the middle. I need to watch the Fablemans. I haven't watched. The thing is though, like I have a thing with Spielberg, man. It's like the movie. The Fablemans makes me feel like my life has been a failure because the Fablemans is kind of like what I would love to be doing, but I'm not. Well, the thing is, so I'm never going into the red. I think I'm hitting some limiters, but like I'm never in the red. I'm always green. I can show you. See, I'll show you right now. See, you don't believe me? Here's my screen, right? Even when I'm talking all the way in, I'm never hitting the red. I probably have a limiter engaged somewhere. Well, I do have my down here. I do have you see down here, I do have them down a little bit. If I click on the controls here, oh, there, see, yeah, so it is pre going up, is hitting that, so but I am lowering it, so that's why it's hiding the fact that it's not going in the red. So if I keep it down there, I can probably bring it back up now, and it won't be an issue. There we go. Now let's take a look at the pre, and it shouldn't hit the red there. There we go. So the fact that I had it turned down a little bit was hiding the fact that it was hitting the red. That makes sense. Let's go back to me. Boom. All right. Sean Baker is killing. Oh yeah, Sean Baker is another example of something that's well known. Tarantino said 2019 was the last year for movies. It may not be entirely wrong. Am I saying that American cinema today doesn't favor directors who are like John Ford, Howard Hawks director that strive to be invisible? What aspect are you talking about? You know, like if we're talking about, like, I wonder if you're talking like television. I think in the work of television, there's a lot of people that are invisible, like, you know, directors that are invisible. Because how many TV shows do you see and they're all invisible? They're no-name directors, or they call them journeymen directors. So the people that aren't famous, they just kind of get hired to do a job, like an electrician comes in and does the job. And oftentimes these shows, you know, like David Lynch will direct the first episode, and then every other director has to direct in that style, right? So there's a lot of that, you know. But like as far as like movies are concerned, it's so much more. I don't know. To be honest, I can't really tell you a whole lot inside information. Just what I observe. It just feels like. Okay, how can I say it? It just feels like a game I don't want to play. You know, like imagine if you are to direct a movie and you have the producers telling you what to do, probably your actors telling you what to do, and you're trying to guide this thing, and there's not really necessarily a room for personal expression because it's not your movie. You're not the writer. You know, you're just hired to direct this thing and put it all together, and you're taking all this input from probably got a lot of input from the producers telling you, you know, this and this and that. You know, let's say it is an IP product, and you've got like the culture war basically yelling at you. I don't know, it just seems like there's just nothing fun about it. Like, I think I'd much rather on a small scale do what I want to do rather than try to work inside the studio system. I was watching this video about a really good little documentary on YouTube about the director of American History X. And if you watch this guy was kind of known to be just like a crazy director. Really got really famous in the UK doing like commercials, and they gave him this project, American History X, and he basically got kind of removed from the film. He started bad mouthing it, and then tried to get his name taken off the film, and he wanted the pseudonym to be Humpty Dumpty. So American History X directed by Humpty Dumpty, and they wouldn't allow that, and he sued the DGA, and it just got all crazy. And basically nobody wanted to work with him ever again. And I don't think he ever did a whole lot after that. I mean, I don't remember a whole lot of details, but it's a fascinating story about that. That kind of subtle auteurship emerged in how many film directors could do, often 2 per year, experiment with endless variations. That's what many filmmakers loved about the old studio system. Yeah, can you imagine that? Like, I would so love. Like I think back at the golden era of studios. Like if I were to say be a cinematographer in the era, it'd be amazing because you would wrap on Friday and then Monday you'd start a new project and then you would shoot that for 2 weeks and then you would wrap and then the next Monday you'd shoot another movie, and it's just like a continuous round. And I mean, like I am a musician. And let me tell you, you know how to get good at being a musician? Play a lot. Like you want to be a good jazz musician, play every single night, perform every single night, and you'll get good really fast. And that's how I mean, that's what Golden Era Studio would have been like. You're performing every night. So Soderbergh is pretty invisible. Yeah, that's true. I think the thing with Soderbergh, I think, is more about his choice of work is not invisible. Like he has, you can feel like, oh, that's a Soderbergh film, but it's not like his directorship is such that. There's so much on the line. Filmmakers these days seem to try too hard. Yeah, and that's what's interesting about like social media. I think is the opposite, right? Whereas there's nothing on the line at all on social media, and I don't know. Seems like that's sort of the in between social media and filmmaking. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I would love to be just a little more less calculated, less turn off the intellectual side of the brain, and go for more of the heart and feeling, emotion side of things. Not many has style today. It's a lost art. Yeah, I don't know. Like in some ways, I feel like it's a lost art, but in some ways, also feel like there is a lot more competing for your eyeball. Like you've got video games to play, you've got YouTube videos to watch, podcasts to listen to. There's so much to do that movies have not. Movies are great and I love watching them, but there's other things you can do. Not if you're bored, there's other things you can do, like endlessly scroll through YouTube, rather than just putting on a movie that you're not interested in. I don't know. Richard Brody is a film critic who can't get into TV shows, even all the most acclaimed ones, such as The Wire, because of the lack of personality he complains due to the directors being mere journeymen. Well, that's a shame. I haven't. Is the new season of White Lotus out yet? Because I really liked White Lotus, and that's a very like a singular voice show. I think Mike White does direct a couple of those episodes. But I mean, the truth is, though, I mean, I don't know what it's like to mount an actual show, but to shoot, to produce, to direct that many episodes might be a little too much to do. You need to kind of divvy up the work in order to actually get things done. Uh, when are the new episodes out? Tell me, Yahoo. Break it to me. My internet's slow because I'm streaming, probably. Oh well. But I'm looking forward to the White Lotus. All right. On one hand, it seems like if you don't have a $20 gazillion budget, you're nothing. But if do have the budget, you can make oatmeal. I don't know. I think the budgets. So if you've ever done any kind of like work, like here's the way I would think about this, and maybe because I'm self-employed, like what's expensive is people. People are the expense. Like and I think that goes for pretty much anything we do at least in America. Labor is the expensive part of getting anything done. So if I were to redo my front yard and re-landscape it, the materials would probably only be like, I would say a fifth of the cost. And the majority of the cost would be the labor involved. And so that's the same thing with filmmaking. It's even more so than in filmmaking. Like, I'll do a job and bring a camera that costs, less than like a quarter of the budget. Now, if I were to rent all my equipment, yeah, like if I were to rent all my equipment, I would still be less than what I'm charging them, because the goods that I'm bringing to the table are not the it's me, it's the labor that's the expensive part. So I think that's what happens with these films, right? They're like the difference between a budget that's made with no budget and the difference between $1 million budget is not much. Like the only difference between a zero budget, literally zero budget, and a $100,000 short film is that the $100,000 short film people are just getting paid minimum wage or minimums, right? Maybe not 100,000. Let's say a $30,000 short film versus a $0 short film. In the $0 short film, everyone's volunteering and doing for free. And as soon as you pay one person, then so how come you're paying that person? Well, then everyone has to get paid, and now you're spending like $1,000 a day paying everybody, and then 20 days of shooting or 5 days of shooting, plus the editing and all that. Everyone's getting paid a rate, a livable rate. Then it becomes a $30,000 short film. And I think what happens in the studio system is like, well, people are no longer expecting paid a minimum rate. They're going to be paying a pretty decent rate or good rate or high rate. Editors making like was that $2,000 a week or something like that. That's a probably a cheap value. The high end editors maybe $10,000 a week or something like that. So I think these big giant budgets are just basically because you have so many people involved. If you go back and watch this Hercules movie from 1983, look at the credit list. It's like 50 people in this movie. I don't know where I'm going with all that, but other than that, saying that, I feel like money thing is sort of it's confusing in that it's not like an easy thing to put your finger on. The Substance. Jack D. Ripper knows what I'm talking about. Substance is my favorite. It's still so confident in what it wanted to say and how it wanted to say it. It wasn't afraid to say it either. Like it was the most like blatantly like sexualized movie, and it was done by a woman. I saw an interesting one take that was because everyone was saying like how the Substance talks about how women are treated in the industry and how women are treated by society. And if you watch the movie, though, and this is this guy's take, and I kind of agree with it. Not fully, but I kind of agree with it. It's not the woman. It's not that the society treats her that way. Although, yes, the producer is kind of slimy. Although he never does make a pass at her. It's how the women treat themselves and how they see themselves. And this lady who, Demi Moore's character, who, for all intents and purposes, could just retire. She could, or make a career change. Notice that her she's older. You're older. You can't do the same thing the young woman can do. You can just retire or change your career, do something else. But she's so in love with the vanity that she can't give it up, and she becomes it is like this tale of the Wicked Witch in Snow White. She becomes the Wicked Witch in the Snow White. She becomes this old craggy lady trying to like cling on to be the fairest of them all. Anyhow, I agree. Substance made a big mark on me. It was really quite an interesting movie. The Looney Tune cartoons didn't become great overnight. They were a product of artists honing their skills for years and decades of making short after short nonstop. Yep, agree with that. I've seen some good indie stuff, says Ruined Flight. There is some good small production stuff, but it's like, when's the last time a small budget film blew up like Clerks or Blair Witch? Yeah, no. I mean, what's the last one? What's the last small movie that blew up big? Maybe something like Everything Everywhere. Well, one of those A24s, right? Like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like those kind of movies, that are small budget kind of stuff. I mean, also, I think the tricky thing about that is a small budget movie can look good these days. Like Clerks had to be shot on 16 millimeter or 8 millimeter. I'm not sure what it was shot. It looked cheap. Blair Witch looked cheap, but nowadays for a small budget, you can make something that looks really good, right? So it's kind of hidden. It's an interesting thought, though. Vince Gilligan's works. Yep, there you go. Vince is another singular idea. I think broad style statements like art style is dead is always misleading. There are always bold filmmakers out there, and there always be. For example, have you seen Nickel Boys by Rail Mill Ross? I have not. It's adapted from a 2019 Pulitzer-winning novel called Nickel Boys. It's the first fictional film by Ray Mill Ross. He wasn't intimidated. He was stylistically bold and did the whole film in POV. There you go. Brady Colbert said that everything in film, everyone in film working for almost no money was a real major reason why they were able to make The Brutalist for such low budget. But what do you think of its AI controversy? Um, I saw a little bit on the AI controversy. I don't know. Like I'm not a purist on the AI stuff. Like I believe that AI can be used for referencing, for filling in gaps, for fixing details, and there's so many things you can use AI for. But the problem is when you use AI without knowing and without thinking about it. Like I think AI is a great reference tool. I use AI every day. I talk to ChatGPT all the time. Usually talk to ChatGPT just as my therapist, just to have someone to talk to, right? But like I wouldn't be able to redo my front yard without ChatGPT's help. Like I asked it, like, okay, I'm installing carpet of stars. How do I plant this thing? What do what did you do to plant Japanese? I have a Japanese blueberry tree. How do you plant that? How long do you water it? The stuff, so I'm using it to reference stuff. And then I use AI a lot in my artwork because I use AI to create reference material for me then to paint. But that's how I think AI should be used as a tool to build upon and create something meaningful. I've got some theories about art. Maybe we can dive into this thing about art too. That in my art class, I believe that art should be a sweat of the brow kind of thing. That's my own personal theory, is that I cannot look at a piece of work. If you told me this piece of work took 5 minutes to create, I'll be like, well, that's not good. But if you told me this piece of work took like many, many hours, I would say, okay, I get that. I appreciate that. If you took me years to make this, and then I'm looking at it like, yeah, but it's not good, then there's obviously a middle ground there between art that takes a lot of effort and art that takes too much effort, or art that takes no effort and too much effort. So with AI, if you can utilize it to create something, but then make sure it integrates well into your product, then it's good. But if it's AI is just used to band gap something, stop gap something, and just fill in a hole without taking time to look at it, hey, is that right? Does that guy really have 5 fingers, or is that 6 fingers on the hand, or is that the proper number of fingers? And that's where I think AI is not really useful, or at least bad. Yeah, don't call craft services, John. Man's got to eat. Craft services, as I tell my students all this, do not skimp on craft services. You cannot pay, you can have a volunteer crew. You cannot pay anybody, but do not skimp on meals and craft. That's something you do not do not skip on. I got a pop-up ad for Field World 5 Hammer. I was looking at a Field World monitor myself, actually, because I have a teleprompter that I use. We are often called to do it outside, and I use a Samsung tablet, and I'm finding that the Samsung tablet's not bright enough for outdoor use. So I'm thinking about getting a Field World 2000 nit monitor, and then hooking the tablet to it, and then projecting the teleprompter type on that, and using that as the basis for my teleprompter. That's my theory. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, but I feel like that's why I would get a Field World camera monitor ad in my thing. Okay, Godzilla -1 was made for $15 million. Yep. Japanese film industry is abusive, pays people way too little. That's true. I want to be the champion of all until I die, egomaniacs. Very true. Hereditary. I have not seen Hereditary, but that's an example of one of the movies that popped out of nowhere, right? Would a YouTube video might react to the profits of a movie? Not sure. There's a couple of ways I think that question meant. Oh, Terrifier. Yeah, Terrifier, $89 million on a tooth. Yeah, horror movies are. I think you can never go wrong by picking out like some cheap horror movies. Do you think movie people, will shift to live performances the way music people did? Well, that's a good question. I know. So here's the thing. I've been to a couple. I go to a lot of plays. I'm going to go see Harry Potter on Tuesday. Harry Potter and the. I don't know. Harry Potter. You're a wizard now, Harry. When is my Harry Potter show? I think it's next. I think it's Tuesday. I'm going. Or does it? I'm looking at my calendar. Boy, my internet's really slow when I'm streaming. That is probably just all the bandwidth I'm eating up here. Yeah, I'm going to Harry Potter on Tuesday, and when I go to those shows, and I saw Book of Mormon a couple weeks ago, they're packed. Like live theater is packed quite a bit. So maybe in the live theater, I don't think is died down. I don't know about community theater, but live theater is really alive and well. I don't know. My friend will go to he'll rather go to a live show than go to a movie. Like he's just not like I mean he helps me do stuff with movies, but like he's just not into like going to movie theater. But he said, if we're going to see a live play, absolutely. See you later, Bruin. Have fun. I gotta get going pretty soon too. I'm just drying out. How long have I been streaming for? It feels like I haven't been streaming for very long. Let's see. I've been streaming for, what's the number? An hour? Hour and four? I'll hang out for another half hour or so. Then I'll go do other things. Other things with my life. All right, let's get back to your comments. We're just having a nice chat. This is fun. We should do this more often. We shall when this studio's finished up. Ingmar Bergman said he never had trouble getting funding for two reasons. He didn't work in the United States, and in which he criticized for the obsession with the box office and the low budget of his films. Makes sense. News are cheap as horror movies. I'm not sure I understand that. Harry Potter and the Chocolate Factory. It's Harry Potter and the Wicked Son or whatever. Harry Potter play. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So it's not. I think it's the kid of Harry Potter. And what sold me about it, because I'm not a Potterhead, what sold me about it was it's a lot of magic on the stage. So it's like a lot of magic involved with the show. So I was like, oh, that might be fun. And it was offered to me as a 3-part deal at the Pantages Theater, because you buy 3 tickets for like $100. Or no, it was like 3 tickets for $100. I was like, all right, what tickets you have? And they had like this. The Harry Potter was one of them. And I'm like, okay. So unfortunately, the Harry Potter was so well sold out that I got the worst seats in the house. Actually, the worst. Oh, Tarantino's doing a stage play before he makes his final film. That'd be kind of fun. I wonder what Quentin Tarantino's stage play would be like, though, because you're missing some of the thing about Quentin Tarantino is his blocking of the camera is really good, and there is something to be said about Tarantino's dialogue, but what makes it Tarantino is the blocking of the camera. The dialogue is good, but to me it's the dialogue and the camera and the stylistic actors and all the way he does it makes it Tarantino. So I wonder what a Tarantino script would be. I mean, it's not. what's that guy that did Glenn Ross? That guy. Like that guy's voice is always heard in every script he does. Whereas it's not so much about the blocking, it's about his language. Whereas Tarantino, I feel like, is more of a complete cinematic package, and I would just wonder what a stage play would look like from him. He said, at least that's what he says. Well, yeah, who knows? If you ever see live shows, seen some of the live shows from like some Ramstein or Metallica, they're filmed on cinema cameras and they have great production value. Yeah. Mamet, yeah, Mamet has his dialogue, his voice. That's more. I mean, that obviously. I mean, Glenn Ross came from a play, so it's a very theatrical, as in theater style voices rather than like actual framing and all that. The Hong Kong action film industry in the 70s and 90s were essentially built on theater performers who transitioned to cinema as cinema grew more popular. There you go. I can imagine Reservoir as a Dogs as a stage play. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, but there is still some elements of the way things are shot, the way that Tarantino does the blocking of the camera. The famous one is the ear cutting scene where the camera pans away and then pans back, and the ear's been cut off, kind of thing. Can't do that in theater necessarily. My mouth is dry and I'm all done with my soda. The sparkling water. All right. Well, let me take a quick break. Let me grab another one of these because I'm going to need it if I'm going to be talking like this. And I will be right back. Stare at the chair. All right. They're back. Did you miss me? I know you did. All right, here we go. Oh, I did a lot. Finished planting my carpet of stars yesterday, and then I went and did a gym workout where I had to. I did tell you this, right? That I had to do one more HR lesson to finish my coaching training, and I made a deal. I said I got on the exercise bike at the gym, and I said I will not get off this bike until I finish this training, which is 37 minutes long, and I finished it. Then I went and sat in jacuzzi. That was good. And I was listening to I really like the healthy gamer guy, Dr. K. He was talking about he had the Valentine's Day thing on attachment style, which I remember reading about a long time ago, and I thought, man, this is so like accurate. I feel like if you wanted to write a rom-com, like if you want to write an accurate rom-com, look at attachment theory. Like I feel like attachment theory is like I've gone through my entire life, right? Like watching romantic comedies, watching romances and all that stuff, and not realizing there's this whole field of study called attachment theory. It's scientific, and my God, it's very accurate. Like it's so damn accurate. Like as far as like talking about how people interact with each other, that I'm just surprised it hasn't been used in more movies. Matthew says digital has made entry barrier of filmmaking easier, and that is one good thing Tarantino is willing to say about digital. On the other side, though, digital can give one too many options. You were talking about that in that one comment you left about Scorsese saying that. I agree. I agree, and I feel like also like so much of feels like so much of modern filmmaking is just like because we can, you know, like I'll be honest, like I should probably give Severance another chance, but that intro turns me off a lot so much because it's saying it's just it feels like it's just too damn clever. And I think part of it, you know what part of it I don't like about that intro is the use of the robotic camera. Like when I see that, I immediately just don't like it. If you know you guys know what I'm talking about, this is maybe a very nitpicky thing. Very nitpicky here. If I were to show you this, let's see if we can find it. The new intro to Severance. My internet is so my download speed is so slow right now. I'm gonna turn the sound off. But there's this one move that happens in the intro, and it just bugs me. I hate this movement because it's so smooth and precise that like it literally takes me out of this. Oh wait, that's not the. Oh, I thought that was the intro. Never mind. It's the part where he's running through the hallways. Never mind. Maybe it's the opening scene. Is that what it is? Huh. It goes to show you I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. If you like Severance, keep on liking it. Don't listen to John. But it's just this one move. It's a robotic camera, right? It just on a track, and I just don't like it. Like it just makes me feel like it's too clever. It's everything's just too clever for its own good. People arguing in a room is pretty easy to translate onto a stage. That's true. Talking movies are very easy to translate. Ah. Flow is an indie animated film that blew up. It won the Golden Globe at the Best Animated Film. It's entirely without dialogue, focusing on a group of animals having learned to be together to survive. Interesting. It was unexpected animated hit from last year, collecting many awards. I saw the re-release of Seven in theaters. It was the only one in the theater. I was the only one in the theater. Oh, that's a shame. I mean, come on, chicks. You all like true crime stories. Seven is like the most awesome true crime story. Working in a rental house, everyone wants expensive cinema glass and the latest RE cameras. It's crazy the mentality you need these really expensive items to make your film look any good. That is so true. I think last week I was sharing that one of my students bought herself a camera, like an R7, and as a used R7. She's like, it's used. I'm like, good. Buy used professional gear. But because her teacher told her, her photography teacher said, you need to buy the best gear. Like, you need to get your hands on the best gear you can get your hands on. And, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that's wrong, but I don't think it's a good message to tell people. Get your hands on the best gear. I don't know. All right. Anything else going on? Let's see. Or shall we bring this thing to a close? This is a rather lively live session here we had today. Going on for an hour. How long has it been? How long have I been on for? Where does it say? Dream settings. No. Well, I started about 12:30 or so. All right. We'll go for a few more minutes and then gotta get going. So I'm getting tired. My voice is starting to go. Absolutely. Put that comment up there. Hold on. I can't click on anything. I'm losing my mind. I think I'm drying out and I'm losing my mind. Dang it. Let's put the comment up there. Well, I think Mathias is really into the movie Flow because he won't stop talking about it. Like every comment is about Flow. All right, I can't drag this thing over. There it goes. Wait a minute. Sorry, my clicky thing is. There we go. Now I got it clicking. There we go. All right. Yeah. Does Mathias have points or percentage on this movie film or something? Because he just keeps talking about Flow. To be fair, Flow is very good. Yes, I just haven't seen it yet. A director cut from all the footage of a famous movie available for everyone to edit. No. So this morning I was looking at my YouTube comments and there's a couple that really annoyed me. I'll share them with you. Why not? Well, it's cheap content, right? One guy is like arguing with me. His channel's like pro golfer, whatever, and he's like, I was talking about the frame rate of the human eye one, and it was like, here's what AI has to say about it, and it's like paragraphs, and I'm like, cool. You know, the thing is, like, the AI the AI is probably skim through my videos and like use them as reference. So anyhow, then he was saying like the human response is like seven is like was like 70 to 100 milliseconds response time, but then people can see 100 frames a second. And what irked me was like, if you're telling me the response time is 70 to 100 milliseconds, and then the next sentence you're saying, well, we can see 100 frames a second. No, because you said 70 to 100. 100 is 10. So my God, that was grinding my gears. And then another comment. This one guy from India keeps asking me these weird questions, and it's stuff like, how can we see the blur of a human face? Like, can we make a human face when it's blurred because of like motion blur? And what's bothering me about this questions is like, don't you know? Don't you experience the world? Do you not? Do you look at do you look at some film and go, I can't make out that face because it's too blurry? Why are you asking me these questions? You can there's self-evident stuff. You can just look at a video or a movie and see the motion blur and then make out people's. Why are you asking me? Like, these are self-evident questions. Like, my opinion does not matter. It was killing me. It's like this guy. And then I had one guy tell me, and this is not something I don't, I'm not being too harsh on this other guy here, but he was asking me, like, I don't understand this whole thing with viewing distance and perspective. He said Wolf Crow says that the maximum DPI that a human eye can see is like 2,600 dots per inch. And like, Wolf Crow is generally pretty reliably correct. He's pretty accurate. The problem is people that read Wolf Crow don't understand how to fucking read. So when someone says that the maximum human eye perception is 2,600 DPI, it's like, well, but what's standard? And if you go to the Wolf Crow article, it says from a viewing distance of 4 inches, the best measured human viewing would be able to detect 2,000 DPI. from 4 inches away, like that, 4 inches away. But the average human being's view, resolution is in the neighborhood of 800 DPI from 4 inches away. And then then he asked me, he's like, okay, so I did the calculations. So does that mean if from a 120-inch screen from 12 feet away, I'd have to have like a bazillion pixels per? It's like, no. You need to figure out viewing distance. And he came back, and then I kind of explained that to him, and he came back and said, well, I just don't understand this whole viewing distance thing. So can you just tell me, what's the maximum? And like, if you can't understand viewing distance and how it plays into like resolution, what's the maximum resolution you need? And he's like, I'm writing a script for YouTube to explain these things in a Vsauce style. I'm like, if you can't understand the difference between viewing distance and resolution, you shouldn't be making videos about this stuff. Oh my God, it was just driving me nuts. So that's what that's what I get when I read my YouTube comments. Oh, anyhow. All right. You will be doing time in the universal mind. Amen to that. Yeah, film will always be 24 FPS. Somebody on Reddit was talking about how, like, well, he can't tell the difference between 24 and 30. And he does a lot of screen recording. It's like, well, if you can't tell the difference, it's because you don't have any experience doing 24 and 30. Yeah, so his whole thing about motion blur was not about FPS. It was talking about like rolling shutter. Like he was on it was so, the thing about the internet is like I can't tell if people are being, there's a lot of people on the internet who just say like, my eyes are so good, I can see this stuff. I'm so evolved. I'm so sick of that mentality. So people will say, can you see rolling shutter? Well, this camera I'm using here obviously has rolling shutter, but like, does the rolling shutter affect your perception of my face? And he would be asking questions like, well, does the rolling shutter, on a camera like distort the faces so that we're not getting the reality? I'm like, what kind of human perception? We got to get away from this idea that the human perception is some sort of magical, infinite capability, right? Human perception is fallible, like insanely fallible, right? That's how movies even work, is because human perception is fallible. Like we got to get away from this idea that, yes, the human biology is amazing miracle, but it is a miracle founded on like shortcuts and all kinds of, if it's good enough, don't bother, don't fix it kind of things. Evolution is, if it's good enough, don't bother fixing it, right? I mean, it's just so annoying, that people get this idea that rolling because the camera has a rolling shutter. Oh my gosh, I'm waving my hand. That's going to affect the rolling shutter. It's going to become the perception, and it's just, this guy's never the questions, partly because it was like broken English, but part of it is just like, stop asking this damn question. When you're asking questions like, is this enough to destroy the fabric of reality? It's like, do you watch movies? Do you see movies? Do you get your camera phone, you take a picture of something? Does it feel like it's broken? I don't know. Maybe we're just taking the whole idea that reality, like, I don't know. Let's listen to Dr. K and the Healthy Gamer talking about, like, there's a difference between, and we were talking a little about attachment theory and like how if you're anxious, the other opposite of anxious, dang it, what's the word? If you're avoidant. So some people have this, like, want to take a really objective view of, there's objectivity. And the thing is, though, there really isn't objectivity. I mean, I believe there is an objective world. There is an objective space. But, like, I believe also there's subjective realities, and like people can perceive the things. The way you perceive something is what's true to you. It may not necessarily be objective reality. There is a space for subjectivity for all of that, and at least with filmmaking, things like depth of field for me is not necessarily subjective, but it's based on perception. And at least that's something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, the idea that perception is something separate from reality. Anyhow, let's get to some of your comments. I don't want to talk more about flow. Let him. So we did the math, right? If you're watching a 120-inch screen from 12 feet away, for all you people in metric land, that's probably around 4 meters away. 120-inch screen, which is like a 3-meter screen from 4 meters away. Your DPI, which is dots per inch, which is dots per 3 centimeters. Your DPI will be 24 pixels per inch, or about 6 pixels per centimeter, right? Is that 20? No, 24 divided by 3 is 7. About 7 pixels per centimeter, or 24 pixels per inch, is your maximum resolution. 24 pixels per inch. That's that much. Fit 24 pixels in there, viewed from 4 meters away. That is so far, much further away. God, this humor in this chat is drier than a bucket of sand. The humor in this chat is drier than my ex-girlfriend. What? All right. ISO factor. So frame per second is 1/1500th of an eye to eye units. There you go. What a heavy load Einstein must have had. Effing morons everywhere. What a fucking heavy load Einstein must have had. Fucking morons everywhere. It's incredible that Billy Wilder could write English so well without being a native. That's true. But he did speak English, so. You know that old story about the German guy who was wanted to get some advice from directing. So he goes to this guy and he's like, "Okay, well, I'll give you some advice on directing." All right, so I don't forget how this flows, but the whole joke of the punchline is they pull out a porno movie, and he says, "So what are you showing me this porno movie to teach me about directing? What am I supposed to learn from this porno movie?" He's like, "Son, get to the fucking point." So that's the old joke. I don't know. Anyhow, I think I probably have to cap out here. I think I've been on here for an hour and a half. I got to put this stuff away because I can't leave the streaming setup in here while they go ahead and fix they add stuff to my studio. Work on it probably next week. Oh my God, new people coming in. If I were outside in an unfinished building right now, I'd be freezing. Guess you're away from the fires and the rain. Rains happened 2 days ago, so I'm definitely not near the fires. So that's true. My friend went to Germany for a weekend. He could only say beer and cheese in German. He was drunk and constipated. Thanks for your great videos and streaming, mate. Thank you very much, Thomas, for hanging out with me. Thomas Crenshaw for hanging out. Cheers from Melbourne, Australia. You're a day ahead of me. It's your Monday. I'm still on Sunday time here. I was going to relax and take it easy for the rest of the day. I do need to do one edit, one thing, but I haven't. I don't know. I might go out. I might just go out because it's a beautiful day and I want to get outside. People complain about blur in movies are like the people who complain about silly smear frames in animation with pause, not understanding how it works exactly. Yeah, and people keep pausing movies as if you see any frame in a movie. Hope it has a bathroom. It does not. That's how you save money. Is you don't put plumbing in your building. Yeah, I mean, literally the bathroom is like that, just like 10 steps that way. So I just go inside the house with the bathroom. Here, see it. I'll show you. Oh, stop looking at me, auto. It's got auto tracking on. Look the other way. It won't look the other way. All right, fine. Don't look the other way. Be that way. Totally. Be that way. All right. I think on that note, I better call it quits. All right, guys. We'll check you guys out here next week. Come back for more. Hopefully, we'll see more of this stuff done. I don't know what's going to happen the next following week. We'll see here. Oh, David Lynch talking about meeting George Lucas. Yeah, I think I've heard about that. That was really interesting. All right, guys. I'm going to call it here. Fade to black. We'll see you next week. Hope we get some more stuff done. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck. Take care. Have a good week, guys. Bye.